since you have so many new players, I was wondering, leading up to this game, the last three practices, for how much time do you spend really on preparing for Corpus Christi? You still going over your own team, trying to get things in place?
We finished out last week with our final prep work for us and put a bow on that. And we were off Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday has been prep for Corpus Christi. We have a great ton of respect for their program, for Toyelle as a coach and what she's done throughout her career. So we spent the last 2 days prepping for them.
And then what about you guys, when you shut down spring camp or fall camp? How do you feel when you ended that and say, where's your team at right now going into that preparation?
There's some bright spots, right? I think that the last time I spoke to you guys, I was wanting our defense to do a little more, and we took the next step in that direction. Offensively, we're making a lot of more baskets than we have in the past. Our flow is not where it needs to be. I feel like we're behind in that area a little bit still because of people who are in and out or just now returning to play based on nagging injuries or surgeries that were had over the summer. The good news is everybody will be available in some capacity tomorrow, but there are several people who are on minute restriction as they return to play. So just trying to manage them and get them in a flow while also making sure their bodies feel good.
Coach, with all the different, you have pieces that you brought in from everywhere. Just with the transfer portal, how have you seen just historically that production transfers from, going from one conference or maybe a lower level conference to like the SEC? Is it really different? Different sports have kind of different drop offs where basketball may be more consistent.
Oh, I think it's we've actually done a study on it to see depending on what level you transfer it to, and if you transfer laterally up or down, what does that show? And there's obviously outliers and all of those things, but for us it is about looking at the style of play and can they fit into our system. And what we have seen trending over the last, I would say, 3 years with the portal is that there have been several players who have laterally transferred from one Power Four conference to another. There have been players who have made a jump, and if they are in the right system, they have a high level of success.
So speaking of a system, were you going after kids that you thought could fit the basketball system or the program system?
Both, program first, right? Obviously, the first thing you have to identify is can they fit our system, from a talent standpoint, can they play our style? But then after you figure that out, for us it was do they fit what the standards are for our program? Because we do have standards that are non-negotiable, and so that's where we spend a ton of our time in a short amount of time, especially in the portal, trying to dig into who they are and ask them some really hard questions about what they see for themselves, what they see for the program, and what their goals are.
What are those standards that are non-negotiable for y'all?
Attendance is very important. You're going to go to class. We are not, and there's not, this is our way. It doesn't mean that our way is right or wrong. This is our way. We are not waking you up and walking you to breakfast and walking you to class to make sure you're there. It's your responsibility to get there and be on time. If you are 2 minutes late, that counts as a miss, and there's a consequence for that. A lot of people don't have that strict of a guideline. Because for us, we are talking basketball. We're also talking the next 40 years of your life. The time that we have with you, we're shaping you into the young woman you're going to be when you leave and go into the world. And so if I wake you up every day to make sure that you go to breakfast or to have a mandatory breakfast to then make sure that you're in class on time, when you get your first job and nobody's there to do that, what do you think is going to happen? Right? So there's just things that we do that are a little bit uncommon, and to try to make sure that they take some ownership for who they are and the responsibilities they have. Another one of those is community service. Obviously, our Student Athlete Engagement Center does a great job of providing community service opportunities for all of our student athletes, but we have a separate in-house rule for community service within our program in terms of the hours you have to get per semester in order to comply with what the standards of our program are. So those are two examples of things that are a little bit not as traditional as most programs, but they're non-negotiables for us.
And your recruits are adapting well to this culture and buying into it.
Yeah, because they know it from the very first conversation we have. We don't trick them and then tell them when they get here. The very first conversation we have, we put it out on the table because either you want to be here or you don't. You're welcome.
Coach, what can you tell us more about Corpus Christi and their play style?
Right. So obviously they had a game last night. Actually, they put up 100 points. I don't care who you're playing. 100 points is 100 points. Right. So again, we have a high level of respect for who they are, their program. They've been to the tournament, not last year, but the year before last. You're talking about an NCAA tournament team. And Toyelle is someone who can play in multiple ways, offensively and defensively. She'll show zone, she'll show man, she'll press. She guards the ball screen a bunch of different ways. Offensively, they've got people who are very capable of shooting the basketball. If you're not there on the catch and disruptive with high hands, they can make open shots. And so we've got to do a really good job of trying to disrupt their flow and not allow them to have easy catches. But really, really great program, and really expecting in Toyelle's first year to have continued success at Corpus.
What about your non-conference schedule in a whole? Do you
That's the
feel-
freshman for you. Just had a freshman walk in the wrong spot.
Play yourself.
No.
I was gonna say, thank you. Maybe a lot younger, Joey. I appreciate that, you know.
60-year season.
Yeah, but your non-conference schedule, did you put this together with this team in mind, or how did that work, and how challenging do you feel it would be for them?
Yeah, we didn't put it together with this team in mind, meaning like the names we had on our roster. We did put it together with this team in mind, meaning we were slower about filling our non-conference slate because you don't know who you're going to have on your roster. And again, like in the time of the transfer portal, we are traditionally a team that a year out already has our schedule done. And so you're building your schedule based on the roster you think you have, and then you look up and you don't have that roster. And so we were a lot slower in putting together our non-conference schedule, thinking about and taking into consideration, let's kind of have a feel for who's returning, who's not, who we might be able to bring in. With all that being said, I'm excited about our schedule. We obviously play tomorrow, and then we have a gap. We have a window. We can go back and work on ourselves some before we play Tarleton on the 13th, and then we're going to go play a really good Kansas State team on the road. We get back after one day, and we're going to go to Hawaii and play 3 really tough teams, like in back-to-back games, and that's always good to have an MTE where you can see how players respond playing back-to-back nights, and also it prepares us for the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament to have those type of multiple games in a row. And then we're going to host Georgia Tech at home. We're going to host West Virginia at home, all Power 4 institutions. So I'm excited about our schedule. I think it's going to prepare us for a league that we know is going to be really, really tough. And we're at home a lot, which is always great to be in front of our fans.
What's maybe the toughest or the most challenging thing when you have such a big roster? And like you talked before about people, they got to earn their spots.
Mm-hmm.
But, is there anything tough about managing a roster that you haven't had that many people for a while?
Well, I think for me, no. I think for them, and they got to feel for it Monday or Tuesday, it's not equal opportunity. Like equal opportunity time is over. And so when we're into the flow of now scout prep game, there's 3 opportunities to do it and then you're off. And then the next group is on and there's 3 rotations and you're off. And if you got it, you got it. And if you didn't, you didn't. With a roster of 15, that's even more important. Like that's 5 groups of 3. So we're going to do this 3 times. This is a team, this is a team, and this is a team. And then there's some combinations that you do want to see together. Like, so if, for an example, Emerald right now is on a different team than Lauren, but I want to see Emerald and Lauren play together. So I might, in that 3rd rotation, tell Lauren to jump back in, and that bumps somebody out who was in that 3rd rotation. And that's just something that they have to understand.
We spoke to Kent a little bit about her just staying throughout the off season, and your 3 returners, she said, had a lot to do with you and the staff. She just wanted to be a part of this. Just what can you say about them staying in an era that kind of, it isn't really common to do so?
Well, you're talking about Janae Kent, who came to us last year as a transfer, and she's somebody who we thought could just embody the spirit of what it means to be an Aggie. Started for us in most of the games last year when she could and wasn't hurt, and I think the leap that she took over the summer in terms of just her confidence, her skill set, and her ability to take ownership in being a role model for and being a leader for the players that we were bringing in. Lauren's the same way. Obviously, she's a 6-year senior, got tons of game experience, but also is our vocal leader. So her and Janae have both done a great job in that aspect. And then Vanessa's somebody who I'm just rooting for. I don't think anybody's really seen her She did not play a lot her freshman year. She got hurt last year and had season-ending surgery. She's just continued to be resilient and work her butt off, and she's worked really hard to stay and to fight through some injuries. And so, in all that, she's grown as a basketball player. She's grown as a person. She's vocal, and so I'm just really rooting for her to come out and play relaxed and just to take all of the little nuggets that she's learned over the last 2 years and apply them on the floor. I think, as unfortunate as it was that she was hurt last year, she grew so much from watching and has just a different respect and love for the game.
But those three that you just mentioned, is it required in this day and age where there's so much transfer influence? If you've returned to the program, you have to be the one to, those standards you talked about, set it for everybody else who arrives.
Absolutely. There is, and they know that. We have high standards for all of our young ladies, but they are the ones who are modeling the way. And so they are the ones who have to do things the right way. And they do. Those are 3 young ladies who do things the right way. But they also have to speak up when they see someone who hasn't done something right, whether it's because they did not know or, well, this is how we did it where I came from. Well, that's not what we do here. And again, that doesn't mean how you did it where you were was wrong. That just means it's not how we do it here. And so they're the ones who know that, especially in spaces that the coaches and staff aren't in the locker room, on the back of the plane, on the back of the bus, places that our eyes and ears can't regulate it for ourselves. We're never going to ask any player, but especially a returner, to govern our team. That's our job as coaches. But there are some spaces that we aren't in. And when there's things that are happening that don't reflect what they know the standard is, they absolutely have to speak up.
Do you feel better about the point guard position? You know, last year you were just trying to fit Soleil into that spot.
Yeah. I mean, when you see Nasiria play tomorrow, that question will get answered for sure. But, she's somebody who is going to be a quick fan favorite. She's quick, she's shifty, she can score at all 3 levels, she's tough defensively. And again, like having a senior point guard at that, somebody who has tons of experience. She led the country in steals last year. Our pace is better defensively, our point of attack defensively is better, and that's all because of her. She's got a ton of responsibility that we've given her. She wants to play at the next level. And so the conversation in the recruiting process was, if you want to play at the next level, then you've chosen the right place, because as a point guard, we know what it takes to get you there, and we're going to hold you to that. And she's done a tremendous job.
How much fun is it to count to 15 as opposed to 7?
When I circle them up every day before we start practice, and we just set our intention for the day. It gives me a chance to look at everyone if I haven't seen them, like over at the Simpson, or if they haven't walked through the office, and I get to just look at them and kind of do a mental check of like how they look. And then after that, they jog a lap. And it has taken us like an extra 30 seconds to jog a lap because of how many people we have, but it's a great thing. Yeah.